So I would love to catch up though. Karen, tell us what you're doing because I feel like every time I talk to you, like when we're both in the Belmont courses, you're doing something new that's fabulous. So, what are you up to right now?
Well, thank you very much for asking, Kim. And you're right. We have known each other through Belmont University, which has an outstanding occupational therapy program, and even another outstanding master's level occupational therapy program where they allow OTAs, which are occupational therapy assistants, and also physical therapy assistants to come in and become qualified and certified occupational therapists. And I know you came through the program, and like I said, we are both older adult students, and I love the opportunity that we receive because learning is a lifelong thing. But for me, as mentioned, I came to occupational therapy as a second career, having served the United States Air Force for several decades. so, but it was
And
great.
thank you for your
Um,
service.
Thank you so much. And I knew I wanted to still keep serving people, and so but I'd always had that medical career desire from way back from when I was a child, and so I decided, now was my chance. So I was lucky to be accepted to the Belmont program, and I was happy to graduate with my occupational therapy doctorate 3 years later after my acceptance. And so when I was going through the program, I kind of knew that, you know, you know, certainly occupational therapy is so wide ranging, and really that's what drew me to that as an encore career as opposed to other things. So I decided that I could take all those great skills that I learned in the Air Force and apply it to occupational therapy because of its wide range ability to touch and enhance people's lives. And so, going through, I kind of, certainly knew that, some people were gravitating toward the rehab space, some people were gravitating toward the pediatric space, and so on. And so, certainly, I loved having all those experiences. I got out and so started working in some of those traditional areas. So, I did, of course, rehab primarily with the older adult population, and then I also had a chance to do peds as a practicing therapist. Then, of course, COVID hit, so that kind of changed everything. And just kind of during COVID, when you had a chance to reflect because the world was changing so much, and I kind of reflected back on some of the experiences I'd seen. I kind of knew that coming out of COVID, I wanted to do something different. And I've always been interested in community based health. I want to help people stay in their desired environments as long as possible. And I'll tell you, things like this, occupational therapy in the community environment and public health. I love this book by Dr. Marie Scappa. And so it really resonated with me. And so that's where I decided to kind of start my own thing. And that is, I started my own company, Specialized Occupational Therapy Services, or SPOTS, coming out of the pandemic. And so I seek to kind of work with individuals who certainly want to stay in their homes and in their communities, but also want to focus on certainly the military population. Military individuals, they are dealing with a lot of things once they finish their service, whether they serve for just an initial 3-year enlistment, a 4-year enlistment, depending on the service, or if they serve for 20 years or longer, like I did myself. So there's a whole host of things that can impact them. And so that was really where my heart was to older adults, women, veterans, and certainly people of color. And so I've been trying, it's kind of an interesting path trying to do occupational therapy in the community, but I've been navigating the space, and so I'm determined. But resources like yours really help. So I have to say that. So resources like Aspire OT really help because you have such interesting topics, some that you don't find everywhere. And the thing is, you realize the importance of tapping into those emerging areas of practice. So I love that the way you're diving into mental health. That is particularly critical coming out, not only for say, adults, but certainly the youth population. There's all sorts of studies every day about the impact of mental health on this next generation that they're growing. And so when you all have these wonderful presentations about infusing mental health and mindfulness and things like that from practitioners like Dr. Katie Schmidt, it's outstanding.
Well, thank you. We are definitely passionate about occupational therapy. We feel like our profession is amazing. There's so
Yes.
much we have to contribute. Um, I think we focus a lot on how we promote that because we are under recognized as a profession. But I think that can change. I don't think we have to stay there. But I think we have to help other OT practitioners with ways to promote what they're doing, just like are doing amazing things in the community. But a lot of practitioners are so busy and have so many other challenges. It's hard to think about, well, how am I going to promote OT? So we feel like, adding that to really almost every course we have, we try to add that component of how can you talk about your distinct value.
I think that you are
I
spot
love
on,
that.
and that's really another thing. Oh, I'm sorry. That's one of the things that I find is so hard,
Okay.
trying to always explain what occupational therapy is, because people just can't conceptualize it. And when they're feeling good, I mean, it doesn't really matter. Or they think about them only as, oh yeah, my aunt had that when she fell. It's like, okay, that's great, but occupational therapy can help you in your workplace. Occupational therapy can just help you stay in your home, whether it's coming in and just kind of doing a home eval and saying, hey, that rug is a trip hazard, or, let's put it down with some tape, or let's better think, get rid of it altogether. So yeah, I think you're right. But sorry, Nicole, I think I cut you off by accident.
Oh, no, you're totally fine. I was just going to say how much I love your business concept, especially your focus on veterans, because what such a population that needs serving, but also that you have that piece that you do truly, as you have that piece of understanding because you have that background in the military as well. I just think that's so wonderful. And I'm really excited to hear about that.
Yeah, it's been an interesting path. Like I said, I mean, I am someone who I loved being in the military. I was raised in the military. Actually, my father served in the military, so I think I've pretty much done every role attached to military that you can have. I was a military family member, so we call them dependents. So I was a military dependent. I've been a military wife. I certainly have been a military officer myself, and now a military retiree. So. Kind of touched all those kind of roles that we have. And I'm really passionate about supporting the military. And the military is just like any profession. Sometimes, there was a lot of wonderful things that happen, sometimes not so wonderful things that happen, but we're all tied to a mission to defend the country. And then afterwards, once we finish our service, I think we all have, as military officers and enlisted, a duty to give back to others. And so I'm so happy that I found occupational therapy as a way to continue to give back.
So I think that's so interesting. And honestly, I would never have thought about those specific needs. So my question would be, what is that surprise when working with other military individuals who've either served, are serving, or no longer serving? What is that surprise as you've started practicing that you saw that OT could really meet a need, but you weren't expecting OT to meet that need?
Well, thank you for asking. Really, the surprise is just kind of the complexity of issues that are out there that an individual can come into contact with as they age, or if they have, unfortunately, some kind of accident, be it a motor vehicle accident, they trip while walking the dog, whatever it may be. But then how it kind of sometimes is more complex with the military community. Just kind of look at a couple of issues when you look at things like family caregiving, because November is Family Caregiving Month. We're concluding it now, but it should always be top of mind for individuals. When you look at veteran caregivers, they actually spend more money. I think it's almost $12,000 more a year than other caregivers of individuals, say individuals who are disabled or intellectually disabled, or more just physically disabled from things like a car accident or something like that, some spinal cord injury. So you have veteran caregivers spending more money. A lot of times, they may not get all the benefits they achieve. Certainly the Veterans Administration does a wonderful job of taking care of veterans, but really, when you look at it, only a small portion of the military actually use VA resources. And the VA, like I said, I think, I'm a proponent of the VA too, having had a chance to do field work there. They do a great job with the resources they have. They don't necessarily have all the resources that they need, but they try, and they're continuously trying to improve their service to veterans. But veterans are very complex. And so occupational therapy allows us to address not only their physical issues, whatever it may be, but also, more importantly, the whole self. We are big in terms of looking at the psychosocial issues. Are there some stressors that you're carrying from your time in service, or just some stressors of transitioning, going from a stable military environment now to this sometimes chaotic civilian environment? That's a whole bunch of stressors that can come into play. So, what I'm finding is veterans are just very complex, and occupational therapy is great at teaching you to meet your client where he or she is. And so I think that's the great thing. And that's why I think it can be so instrumental for veterans, occupational therapy, as we hopefully use it more in terms of broader concepts, other than just, say, treating things like post-traumatic stress disorder or traumatic brain injuries, of which occupational therapy can be very powerful, but looking kind of expanding it out to the whole self.
You have me so excited, Karon.
That's very kind of you.
I am. I'm really excited. I think that is amazing. And I think it's an awareness that I, I don't think as an OT practitioner, I had enough awareness until this conversation just now. And so that is definitely something I'm going to try to be more aware of. And I'm definitely going to be contacting you as I go through my home health practice. The agency I work for, we actually recognize veterans for their service, and we have a program to do that. But that's kind of where it stops. And I don't think I ever thought about that there were going to be maybe specific considerations that I should be, assessing for. I'm excited. I'm excited to have a different perspective in my practice.
Thank you. Thank you.
And for me as well, I actually, excuse me, recently started a new job at assisted living. And there are
Congratulations.
thank you. There are a lot of veterans. Of course, I'm not in a specific home for veterans, but there are definitely lots of veterans in the assisted living I work at. We actually ended up bringing them along. We had an outing, so the veterans rode in the little bus for the assisted living in the local veterans parade, which was really, really cool.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, I think those things, those observances, and just kind of having just a general awareness is wonderful. These men and women, they serve their country, they step forward and serve their country. And so they like to be recognized. A lot of them, certainly our older generation of veterans, particularly if you're fortunate enough to meet a World War II veteran, oh my goodness, their experience is priceless for what they did. But also veterans of the Korean War engagements, and also certainly Vietnam conflict. It's good sometimes, and sometimes just letting them tell their story is great. So I appreciate what you all are doing and will do as you continue to work with veterans.